Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. If you are new to vinyl, you are in the right place because this is the official Record-ology Beginner's Guide to Vinyl.
Welcome to Record-ology.
Now, if you're new to vinyl, do a couple of things to get started. Hit subscribe, hit the bell notifications. We give away record players, we give away records, we have fun live shows, we do content all the time, both in our community tab, we do surveys, daily shows. It's crazy around here. You're not going to want to miss it. Plus, if you are new to vinyl, check out our Beginner's Guide to Vinyl playlist, where we've got a lot of basics and getting you started on some of the technical and specific aspects of vinyl collecting and record players and technology in general. But today, I just kind of wanted to get folks on the right path to vinyl. If you're brand new and you've said, you know what, that's it, I'm jumping into the vinyl bandwagon, as it were, I'm here to be a part of this. First of all, welcome. On behalf of the vinyl community, welcome. You have found a safe and happy place. If you don't know why I'm saying safe and happy place, you'll find out. So anyway, welcome in. I'm glad you're here, and we're going to have fun. So I wanted to talk about 5 key points, 5 main points today. So number 1 is when you're getting started in vinyl, you need to pick a path. There are 2 primary paths. The first path is retro tech. You know, all-in-one wooden centers, suitcase players, novelty items. They're cool, they're fun. They're not necessarily cheaper than what I'm going to talk about in a minute, but they are what they are. They're a lot of fun for a lot of people. Some people just want to get started with like a $30, $40 suitcase player, and that's fine. Just kind of test the waters. I would caution you, though, if you go that route, don't be discouraged at the sound quality on those units, because they are not indicative of how vinyl can sound if you invest a little further, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you just kind of want to test the waters and just want to have fun with it, or you want an extra unit, retro is the way to go. I have no problem with that whatsoever. There's a lot of misinformation out there about that stuff, so I don't want you guys to be scared away from suitcase players, all-in-ones. I wholeheartedly endorse them. I think they're fine. They do a great job, and they serve a niche in the market, and they're an excellent gateway into people getting into this. A lot of people that end up investing further started with that suitcase player. The other route is audio component turntables. If you're really here because you want to get the most out of vinyl as a format for sound quality, then you want to go this route. So you're going to forego the retro and kind of the niche market of that side of things and really invest in a turntable for its sound quality, which is totally fine. And, you know, at the end of the day, what am I listening to on? I'm listening on to 2 turntables that are not retro. They are not all-in-ones. They are component-level turntables, because as I've evolved, and I started off with those, I started off with those all-in-ones and things of that nature and suitcase players. I evolved to the point where I really wanted to focus on the quality of the sound experience. So I would say start by picking your path. Now, you can correct to one or the other, not a problem whatsoever. You can also do both if you have the means to do so. My next tip is to start smart. If you go the retro route, there are trillions of choices out there. So if you decide to go that retro route, let me give you a couple of recommended turntables. I really like the Victrola 6-in-1 unit, the newer one. It is really cool. I have that in my bedroom. The design is amazing. The dial that lights up at night is phenomenal. It's got a tape player, it's got radio, Bluetooth, CD player, and obviously a 3-speed turntable as well. And it is beautiful. It does a great job. If you don't want all of those extra things like the tape player and CD player, there are different variants that have less features, but it is a cool do-it-all media center. Obviously, it's got the speakers and everything included. Everything you need, all in one package. So that's a really good one. If you like suitcase players, the Crosley Cruiser Deluxe and the Victrola Portables aren't terrible, but they are a very, very beginning step. So if you want a suitcase player, I'd actually recommend the MPK portable turntable. It does a great job, and it features a lot of higher end components, high quality unit, and still gives you that suitcase portability as well. Now, if you want to go down the route of sound quality and audio components, this is a completely different discussion because you're going to need powered speakers. There's a couple pairs behind me, and that's 150 to 250 and on up investment. Their built-in amplifiers allow you to connect the record players directly to them. Otherwise, you need a stereo system that has an aux input. So if you don't have an aux input stereo system with speakers, you're going to need to buy a pair of speakers. A lot of people don't realize that an LP120 or an LP60 don't have built-in speakers. There's nothing hidden on the bottom with those. Some people buy it and they're like, wait a minute, there's no sound. Well, you have to buy speakers. But again, if you don't know, you don't know. So I'm here to tell you that's one thing to be aware of with this route is it does require a couple of different things. The question I get asked so many times is, would you recommend an LP60 or an LP120? Both of which are in the X series now. There's a new iteration. They are new and improved. In both cases, noticeably improved over their predecessors, but they're completely different. An LP60 and LP120, you're talking automatic versus a manual, completely different experience. Do you want to fiddle with knobs and switches and levers and have finite control? Then go with the LP120X USB, which is the newest iteration of the LP120. Or if you want the full automatic push button experience, go with the LP60X. Those are both fantastic turntables, and if I had to pick one recommended, top recommended, Record-ology approved, and approved by most people, beginner turntable, I would say the LP60X. You're talking $90, $100, and you've got a phenomenal turntable. And actually, as you learn more about turntables, you'll realize what an incredible bargain that is. It is a great, high-quality piece of equipment, which I would highly recommend. Really quickly, I want to mention the law of diminishing returns. The difference in return on investment between $100 and $200 is going to be a lot different than the return on investment between $10,000 and $11,000. So don't think that just putting money into it is going to return a major improvement, because for a $200 turntable, you're going to be pretty much at the level that you need to be for most people for quite a while. So if you think, well, if I bought a $400 turntable, it'd probably sound that much better. Don't be fooled into that. Save your money. That's not necessarily the case. The next tip I want to give you guys are vinyl finding tips. So you got a record player now. What about the records? Where do you go? They're really expensive new, $30 to $40. If you're like me, I can't afford to go buy a bunch of new records. So where are you going to find records? Thrift stores are a fantastic place. Usually they're $1, $2, sometimes $3. You can get an instant collection for $20 or even $10. You can get a lot of records that way. The next thing is, don't forget to ask around. Ask your relatives that maybe aren't into vinyl but still have their collections. I found a ton of vinyl when I started this channel in my very own basement because of boxes we've been moving around for years and never knew that they were inherited records. I was like, what? Even some stuff that for me was the kind of music I really listened to, I found those very records, and it was amazing to realize that. The next place you might want to look is a thrift store, but be warned, thrift store records are often overpriced. If you're being asked to pay more than $10 for a used record, I would really take a step back. $5 and under for a average used record is very reasonable. Anything above $5 to the $15 range needs to be something that you really have been looking for or is somewhat rare. $20 for a used record, unless it's one of the few collectible records, I really wouldn't worry about. Then you've got eBay, but it's kind of hit or miss. You know, records get damaged in transit. Even though vinyl records are supposed to be unbreakable, they will break, and you'll get them warped, you'll get them damaged. Same thing with other online resources as well, so be careful. But Discogs is a place to get affordable records, and like I said, eBay. Look on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace in your area and see if there's collections that people are giving away. A lot of times people will sell a box of records for anywhere from free because they just want to get rid of it, maybe up to $20, and it's kind of hit or miss. Here's 100 records for $25, and then maybe you'll find some stuff in there. And you never know, you might find a new artist that you wouldn't have picked up normally and learn to appreciate their music that way as well. The next tip is you really need to invest in maintaining your collection. It gets expensive quickly, so you need to be very mindful as we go along all these steps to make sure that you're investing smartly. But as you start to accumulate, it may be slow at first, but pretty soon you'll look around and be like, wow, I've accumulated quite a bit of an investment here. I want to make sure that it is around to enjoy in the future. So I would recommend that, even if you need to start by putting your records in a box, that's fine, but eventually upgrade maybe to plastic tubs, to wooden crates. A bookshelf works great. Store them vertically, never store them flat. If you can invest in outer sleeves for the album covers, that's a great idea. At a minimum, make sure they've got a good inner sleeve. The paper sleeves that come with new records actually can scratch your records. So replace those right away. If you get used records that have no sleeve, I would invest in inner sleeves. Again, I'll put a good affordable one down in the description below for you guys. Also, cleaning your records is really important. My first record brush was just my wife's old makeup brush. She let me have it, and then she quickly bought me a real one so I wouldn't take any more brushes. But basically, it's something you got to be creative. What do we have around the house that would work? If you can't afford a spin clean, which I love those and would recommend them, or even spraying solution, just wash your records with detergent and warm water. It works fine. Use a towel to gently dry your records. Again, it works perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And then when you can, invest in some cleaning supplies, because that will really help maximize your enjoyment with vinyl. And then finally, when do you upgrade? At what point do you say, okay, I need to upgrade? I would say if you go the route of retro, you have an all-in-one or you have a suitcase player, and you realize, man, I love doing this, but I want them to sound better. I want the records to skip less. I want to get full, rich sound out of them. Maybe you've discovered, like many of us have, that simply by connecting the aux output into some nice speakers doesn't necessarily render better sound, and you're ready to kind of move into the other side of things where you're investing in sound quality. I would say at the point when you realize that you want to make that change and that you are ready to invest a little bit is the time to do it. In the meantime, enjoy what you have. Always enjoy what you have wherever you're at, because there's always going to be somebody with their hand out ready to sell you the next greatest thing. And there's always going to be, the grass is always greener on the other side. So it's a slippery slope. So I would caution you just to upgrade when it makes sense. If you're ready to go to the LP60X after having the suitcase player, that's a good move from there. Once you have the LP60X and you start learning about elliptical styli and you want to upgrade cartridges and whatnot, things that are limited at the LP60X, then you can upgrade to an LP3 or an LP120X USB or something along those lines. So make sure that your upgrades are intentional because you want to have a new feature set or there's something specific that you want to be able to do. Don't just do it to spend more money. Don't be like, well, I like my $100 turntable, fine, but I think I want a $200 turntable. Because if you can't quantify what it is that you're going after, then you probably won't even notice a difference whatsoever. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for today, and we are merely scratching the tip of the iceberg. And if you are new to this, we've literally just scratched the tip of the iceberg because there is so much more. So much more to learn, so much more to experience. Check out our videos. We reviewed dozens, hundreds of record players at this point. Check out our playlist on, beginner vinyl, tips, tricks, history. There's so much to be doing here. There's history, there's archaeology, there's music, there's equipment, there's engineering. It's exciting. I love this stuff. I really love this stuff, and I'm glad that you're along for the journey. Again, don't forget to hit subscribe. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Happy record hunting. We will see you tomorrow.